Anyway, tonight we have Robert Ennis from Eliason Group. Eliason is one of our many sponsors, and we're very happy. We have some people from Eliason here. Where's Jen? There's Jen. Thank you for your sponsorship. Dennis, over there. So thank you for your sponsorship. And I met Robert a few months ago, back in February. Now Robert had this really daunting task. He had to come in and teach a bunch of us Agile coaches how to be Agile coaches. for an IC Agile certification. And it was kind of funny because we're all know-it-alls, right? We all come in and go, oh, we know how to do this. What do we need to do that? And he had to try to herd us all together, get us together, and get us moving over 2 days. And I'm sure it wasn't all easy going, but it was really great. And Robert was fantastic. His knowledge of Agile and teams and organizations was really impressive. I got to eat lunch with him a couple of days as well. And afterwards I said, hey, you know, how would you like to give a talk? How would you like to present? Open invitation anytime Agile Boston. And we're very happy that he took us up on the offer. And he's here to present tonight something that I think is near and dear to a lot of our hearts and what we're going through right now is we're trying to get away from these extended long projects that seem to last forever and really not produce very little and get thinking about how do we actually, you know, do what the manifesto says we ought to do, which is produce continuous, real value to our customers. How do we do that? So Robert's going to give us a lot of insights tonight. I'm really excited to have him here. So without further ado, here is Robert Ennis.
Thank you, Joe. This thing always confuses me. You're clapping. I could be terrible. If there's applause, wait till the end. And also, you probably should be applauding yourselves. It's a rainy evening, and there are many bars near here. On the way here, I passed like 7 or 8 bars. You are in the wrong place, guys. Although you have free beer in those, so that's true. So, before I get started, I have on my PC, sorry, it's a PC, not a Mac, don't panic. We'll get through this. I have a folder of many British things, many British cars and planes and things remind me of home. One of which is this thing. This isn't fake, this isn't made up, alright? It's something called the Bloodhound. What they're planning to do with this is break the speed barrier of what exists right now, the maximum speed for any car on the planet. They're trying to do twice the speed of sound in a car. Okay? That has a rocket engine and a jet engine. The jet engine is made to get it moving. That's literally all it does. The fuel pump for it is the engine from a Formula 1 car, just to pump fuel, right? The reason I'm telling you this, and again, this isn't part of the presentation, I just put this popped up, it's just random which picture the PC puts up, this one put up, is because they don't have a defined end date of when it's going to do the run. But they have, along the way, said, we will have the engine fire first on this date. The rocket will fire on this first date. We think we'll probably do the first run on an airfield around this date. They're recognizing that something that's long and hard to do, you can't plan far out. You can plan the near stuff. We are guilty of not doing that a lot of the time. Like to say, oh, we know the dates, we can estimate, right? These things are tricky. We'll be talking more about that in a moment. Alright, so with that said, we'll dive into the actual presentation. So, it worked. Always the first test. Electronics work, alright? So this is me. Yes, I've got a stupid accent. Apologies for that. I was born in a place called Downton Abbey. You may have heard of it. So there's a bunch of silly acronyms up there. Right now I work at the Eliason Group. I'm the Director of Training Services, so I run the training group. Before that was Agile Coach. Before that, Scrum Master. Before that, hold on to your toes, everybody. I was a project manager. Oh, I know. A lot of us have come from that background. It's very realistic, right? And a lot of the problems we're facing in Agile space now come from that traditional background, right? That is very much to be expected. So we shouldn't hide from that history because that is enforcing a lot of the problems we have right now. Okay? I do a lot of work with Villanova University, Xavier Leadership Center. I'm not bragging. All of this is purely to say, hopefully I know a little bit of what I'm talking about. That's all I'm trying to say. All right? Please do reach out on LinkedIn and Twitter. I keep telling people this. Books are great, but they're out of date by definition of being a book. LinkedIn and Twitter is free, and people are putting stuff up there constantly. go to LinkedIn and Twitter, and it's just a constant news feed of what people are doing at their companies right now that's working or isn't working. If you're trying to think about how to get better at stuff right now, LinkedIn and Twitter is what you should be looking at. All right? Real time. All right, enough of this, let's move on. So I work for a licensing group. I have to do this bit. Dennis is sat there, he's sales. Jen's that I've just got like 30 seconds. Then I'll be out, okay? Don't worry, it'll be quick. A licensing group, we are a pretty special company because we don't just do recruiting or coaching or training, we do all three of them. So a lot of companies work with us because we can give them all those bits that you need. I'm in the training piece, Dennis works in the sales piece, so it's all of this. So lots of things. So if you're looking for stuff, reach out to us. All over the US, branching out internationally as well. I've done some training recently in India and Ireland, and we've had some stuff in China and last year Spain. So we're getting around a bit now. Normal transformation type stuff that you imagine, advisory, training, coaching, staffing is our approach, which is quite the standard approach, I think. Lots of different customers these days. Lots of them you've heard of, primarily because these guys make sandwiches. But lots of clients and lots of partners. One of those might seem familiar to you for some random reason. But as I say, lots of ones like that. All right, so this is important. Why is it important? Because you need to have a Churchill quote in every presentation. Okay? It's just the law. No. When you're trying to make a change, you can't suggest it. You can't be subtle about it. You have to very seriously say, we should do this because. Otherwise, change won't happen. You've got to overcome people's resistance. To do that, you must be able to do it with some strength, right? So, don't take it personally in this presentation if some of it offends you. I'm trying to whack. Right, that's the intention. All right. So, we've probably all seen this movie, right? Back to the Future, Marty McFly, right? This is my concept for what we're going to talk about tonight. Projects, where we're going, we don't need projects. Any project managers in the room? Oh, I'm such a horrible person, aren't I?
Not at all, you're going to save us all.
Okay, wow! I like it, thank you. I'll take that, wow, thank you. So it's an interesting concept, because projects are everywhere these days, right? They are pretty much how we do everything, right? That's how work happens. So this is a very old concept, why would we even talk about this?
But we're not good at it. I just want to add to the point that you just made.
We're definitely getting into that
point.
point.
We're not good at it,
No.
so we're human beings.
We're terrible at it.
Exactly.
We're absolutely dreadful at it. Projects, generally speaking, don't succeed. That's part of the problem. So, we'll talk about projects a lot, alright? So, this is my one texty slide. I apologise, but I thought I'd put it up front, just to get through all the words, alright? So, to your point, young lady, for years now, our work life has focused on project delivery and the associated dates and deliverables to please internal customers. Right? Projects please internal customers. That's most of the concept. Agile allows us to focus on something more important, product delivery. Right? Remember, the customer that you know outside your company doesn't care about your projects. Right? When you use your iPhone, do you care about the project that created the camera lens? No. You're not even aware of that project. You just use the iPhone. Right? People just care about the product and survival at their door. That's what matters. So projects may help to some degree, but they're not the most important thing. The product itself is. So the ability to change our entire delivery focus, right? And the ability is the game changer. And this is what Agile is giving us, right? It gives us an opportunity to change, all right? Now, if we keep doing projects the same way, we don't change, are we really changing? And this is part of the problem that I've been seeing for a few years now. So there's this chance to reinvent the wheel, and we're not. We're still doing the same things, right? As Dan was saying in the beginning about building motivated teams, the manifesto was written 16 years ago. Why are we still discussing this? Why are we not achieving this yet? All right? All right. So, these things probably sound familiar, all right? That's what a project is, right? So it's time boxed, you have to find resources, is to define scope, define body of work, right, and delivered. And with a really good amount of projects, we can communicate them easily. That's the main reason we do projects. We can say to someone, I'll give you this on this date. It doesn't have to be true, but we can communicate it, right? So marketing's happy, sales happy, etc., right? It doesn't be true, but we can communicate it. And that's one of the biggest wins, right, of why projects are around. Okay, so, and this is completely true. I can't tell you which client it was because we've got alliance and salespeople in the room. But there was a company I spoke to recently, and they honestly said to me, less than 5% of our projects are successful. I was floored. I knew the numbers weren't amazing, but that did stagger me. I'm not saying you guys are in that scenario, but that's pretty bad, right? And indeed, the Standish Group, these are the numbers they were seeing, right? Maybe these numbers are a little bit old, and I apologise for that, but those are what they were seeing, right? And that's because we've got this problem. Right, you guys seen this one before? Project manager, because freaking miracle worker isn't an official job title, right? So project managers, how do you do your timelines? Right? That's what I used to do when I was a project manager. My boss used to really help me out a lot, because they'd say, oh, we want you to deliver this project. Now we're going, I don't know what that work is, I don't know what it is, I don't know how to do it. So I'm going to developers and QA and whoever and say, hey, how would you do this? And they'd say, piss off. I'm working on this project right now, I don't have time to talk to you, right? But then my boss, you're in a suit, so you're the boss, it's just default, right? So then the boss comes to me and says, I want it on this date. You're like, yes, now I've got a plan. Right? I've got a date we delivered, so I just work back from there. Right? He wants on this date, so great, we just work back testing and building and design and requirements, and that's now a plan. But at no moment was that ever a plan. It was a hope, maybe, at best, right? And this is it. We're failing at projects because we're not actually doing planning and things like that, right? And so whether we're doing agile or waterfall or whatever you want to call your process, I call it pineapple, I don't mind. But the point being, it's not going to work when you're lying to yourself about how you plan anything. It's going to fail, whatever you do, right? Projects push us that way. So, here we are. Where are projects used? I mean, lots of places. Building ships, building planes, building software, building. I was getting lost at this point. Building, I was losing it. Clothing design, car design, prescription drug creation, right? All these things. Projects are used everywhere. Yes? I think we can all agree on that, right? But not everyone uses projects, right? These guys don't know projects. Just one of my favourite images. Tyrannosaurus Rex doesn't know what a project is. That's no idea. Right? Isn't that fantastic? Next time you're angry, just think of that and go, I'm fine. I'm okay, right? But these guys don't know projects. In fact, if you go back through history, nobody knows what projects are. Projects are a brand new thing. Think about that. In the history of humanity, the history of the Earth, projects are brand new. That suggests you can walk away from projects if you wanted to, if you really needed to. All right? It's not unchangeable. Okay? So, where are they less used? Agriculture, relationships. Try not to raise your children using projects. That's not going to engender them well to you. Sorry kids, end of the project. I know about the defects, but hey, right? That's not going to work. But international relations, right? That's probably not going to work either. Your marriage, not a project idea. That's my advice anyway. Education. Don't really use projects so much in education. Right? It's an ongoing thing. There's milestones along the way, but it's a constant delivery. Right? Nature, pretty sure they don't use projects. Astronomy doesn't. Manufacturing these days moving away from it. Science in general, geography. Pretty much the known universe outside of our workplaces isn't using projects. So why are we? process eats projects. Just does. We always say culture does, right? Usually the example we think of. But process does. Your projects will keep failing if your processes aren't good, right? You go back to the questions earlier. I apologise. I think we're in the same seats roughly. I think it's one of you two ladies who were asking Dan earlier about how do we change things going forwards for multiple projects and bigger scale stuff. And he talked rightly so about architecture, because architecture in an emergency can be amazing. It can deliver those future projects. But if you don't have a process and a culture that supports it, your architecture is pointless, right? Because your process and your culture is what will make projects successful, right? You can't grow agile beyond your first team or two if you haven't built a culture for other people to take it on. That's the actual heart bit. It's nothing to do with the project. It doesn't do the delivery. It's the human beings and the culture you engender in the organisation. If you don't have someone in charge of that, and that's their job, how can you possibly imagine change is going to occur? We're great at falling back to where we used to be. We're brilliant at it. You want evidence? My diet is not working. Right? We're all good at it. Alright. So, this is my thoughtful slide. Imagine like the calming music in the background. Right? So, as humans, we utilise boundaries to aid communication. Right? I'll give you an example. Give me a second, we'll get there in a minute. Here we go. None of these existed. These periods. This line between periods. There's none of these lines. They don't exist. Right? There is no line. We just create these things and say there was a Jurassic period or a Triassic period. Right? There was the 60s or the 70s. There's no line between 69 and 70. People didn't magically change in that one day from, oh, I'm a flower hippie to whatever, right? It didn't happen like that, right? It's a gradual thing, but as humans, we like to imagine there are boundaries. It's useful for us. It makes it easy to understand things. We communicate things better. And we fall into this trap with projects, right? The project started, the project ended. The project started, the project ended. So that's how we think about it. That's not how it happens, right? My iPhone. I don't own an iPhone.
You lease? It owns you.
I have a contract that just says every year I'll get a new white box with a phone in it. And it'll have some new magical stuff that it'll do. It's getting less magical. Again, it's samey, aren't they? They're kind of run out of ideas. But the concept has changed. As human beings, I'm moving away from having a phone to having a brand, having a product. Okay? So things are changing. So, projects are literally a human construct to aid with communication and understanding. You could argue they don't exist. Because when you finish a project, and you have that 5-minute beer and cake celebration, what do you do the next day?
Start a new one.
Start the project. Right? So all the work you do to go and do the release, to go live, and whatever product it is, if you spread that out and did it more frequently, you'd be more successful. Right? So this idea projects, it's interesting. I'm not saying they're necessarily bad, but it's not necessarily good. It's not enabling. It's not helping. All right? All right. There we go. Okay. So, project managers, just, hold on to whatever you've got to hand. It's okay. You left your phone? I knew it. You knew it was going to be the phone.
Like over
Stop
here in
my
the corner.
phone!
This is to you.
I'm just
This
taking
is
Right?
pictures.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay.
Just, I'll
Get
stand
my
behind the
logo.
building.
Logo.
So, so, just, this is, we're going to discuss projects now, okay? Don't freak out, okay? Alright, so, as the title says, you've been to the force, you can do this, I believe in you all. Alright, so, the light side of projects, the good things about projects, why we should do them, alright? Versus, of course, the dark side, alright? I can't do a good failure impression, come on. Alright, so, wow. Sound effects being added by Joe Dantes tonight.
This is total service.
Well, you came in with playing the rock music earlier, so you've got the whole thing going on. I like it. Alright. So projects, the good stuff, they're time boxed, right? That's great. We can say we'll finish on this day. may not be true, but we can say more, right? It defines resources, right? Project manager, project analyst, project coordinator, right? Yeah, defines the scope of body of work, and like I said, you can explain this is what we'll deliver within this time period, right? And therefore, one way we really love it is it helps with the dollar signs, right? Anyone ever wonder why most projects are 1 year long? Right, because funding cycle is 12 months, which is just so scary about how untrue that must be, right? Okay, so what does it do though? It forces us to silo our work, right? At the beginning, we must do research, then design, build, test, release. That's not a waterfall problem, that's an agile problem. Because when you have a beginning, you must do something out of fun. So many of the questions I get asked is, okay, but when I start a project, I must have to do the architecture first, and I must have to do the requirements first, so how do I do agile? It's not an agile or waterfall question, it's doing a project that's forcing you to think that way. Right? If you were continuously deploying stuff, you'd just be doing all that stuff all the time. But the concept of starting a project forces you to work that way. And that then, of course, is the next thing, right? It starts to force people's roles. What's your job title? I'm a designer. What's your job title? I'm a business analyst. I write requirements. What's your job? I'm a tester. Right? So literally doing a project, and therefore the stages it causes, forces the siloing we're trying to get away from this agile thing. Right? It's literally stopping you from getting where you want to go. So again, it's really causing a problem. And it certainly does this. Okay, I assume most of us went to some form of schooling. Okay, so largely uneducated. Okay, fair enough. You came to my talk, that explains a lot. Assuming you had gone a long time ago to some sort of school, I would presume at some point, some nice teacher, probably not. If you ever been to like an English school, definitely not. Boarding school's not that kind of fun place it shows in the Harry Potter movies, really not. You have this problem where a teacher comes to you and says, good news, you have an exam coming up, and it's 3 months away. So you naturally go back to your home, study, dorm, whatever it's called, and you start working away and beavering away and revising and studying and taking all those numbers, right? Or do you wait until, say, a week before the exam, panic, down 4,000 cans of Red Bull, and study like crazy? This is because human beings can't estimate time to release stuff into the last minute. Projects have a last minute. We love it. We love that last minute cram, right? That sort of, hey testers, we're going to reduce your time to test because we've got to hit the date. Forget quality, the date's more important, right? And that's what's happening right here. Again, this having a start and end date is enforcing these problems. Right? As I just said, the focus is on delivery, quantity, not quality. All right? Who here is sort of an IT or financial or businessy sort of world?
All of the above.
Pretty much everybody? Well, there's a lot of you. Okay? And allowing for the fact that you're not, being involved and saying you went to school at all, I'll guess all of you, I don't know. But this kind of logic of saying at the end, we can reduce testing to reduce the focus on quality, doesn't work so when you talk about pharmaceutical drugs, does it?
Because people die.
Exactly. That's usually not a good business model. Right? That's usually considered bad business model, I would say.
Well, that's concentrating the defects in a few people.
Wow! Funny but scary funny.
Like the Darwin Awards.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like taking the post-mortem meeting really too far.
But it's not just testing, right? Almost any project environment, the integration point gets crammed.
Oh, yes.
In pharma, it's the regulatory group. The regulatory
Right.
group is always like, oh my God, you left me 2 weeks to get 3 months worth of work done.
Right. That's exactly the same problem. And that's because we've got the start and the end date, which is causing the problems. If you had a continuous flow, just with exit points, that would never happen. Think about it a different way. One of the biggest problems we have with any project is the release. I don't know if it's software, if it's pharmaceuticals, whatever it is, the release is usually the biggest problem. Why? Because we do it so bloody rarely, we don't practice it. Right, if you do something once every year or two, you probably won't be that good at it. If you did it every 6 weeks, it would be easy.
But it's also bigger when you do it once a year.
Which is
You
great.
have a whole year's worth of stuff that you're
Right.
trying